take a picture and send it to us. Somebody was caught.
No, take a photo.
Yeah, somebody. That's the story of the weekend, though. He packed, I think there was Ghana rice inside the thing. He packed it in a truck.
Billy.
Yes, and he was sending it to an auditor using the school van.
Yeah.
And he was intercepted. After he was captured on social media, he went to the police and they they've caught me. So you just do that thing, do the.
No, is it they should have balanced the equation with some goat and some kukulu? Is it that's how you introduce balance into the thing?
So if you cut somebody, just let the world know, man. It's a regulate behavior.
It better just tweet the photo at us.
Yeah, that would be very good. With the hashtag Citi CBS.
Yes.
We caught him.
Yeah, caught in the act.
Caught in the act. Wow.
Hashtag caught in the act.
I tell you. Yeah, don't forget the WhatsApp is 054-998-699. Gentlemen, very, very interesting weekend. Welcome to Godfred. Sorry, that's a Godfred. Kojo and Sky. No, I saw Godfred earlier. Yes, it's Kojo and Sky. Yeah, Sky and Kojo. Yes. Yeah, the two heads. Yes. The two beards. Yes. The two brains. Yes. Good morning.
Thank you.
How are you?
Yes,
I'm looking forward to the day.
Yesterday, I was answering questions plenty.
About what?
You know, we went for the First Sky group anniversary, 17th anniversary yesterday. Yes. Everywhere I pass. Where's
Bernard Avila? You should have said Ellen Nyakutokume. It's in my pocket. No, you know, I was on program somewhere.
Okay.
So I couldn't make it. Yeah. It was a big celebration. They have First Sky group. They did a Thanksgiving service. And a member of the patrons.
Yesterday I drove past their office in Tema on my way to Sogakope.
Oh, you went to Gakope yesterday?
Yes.
Did you see the motorway street lights?
We drove in the afternoon, so I didn't really see them. No. We drove in the afternoon, and the street lights were.
So you didn't see the street lights?
No, you see street lights when you drive in the night. It becomes more obvious.
Please,
so go and check them out.
Tema, if you saw the street light, take a picture and send it to me. I want to do something with it.
But Bernard, over the weekend, a lot of things happened.
Oh, a lot.
Funerals, weddings, parties. It's like we carried the Christmas feel into 2020. But there's something which is becoming a bit too obvious in Ghana now.
Tell me about it.
People go for parties, they go for weddings, they go for events. You'll be invited by somebody to come and join them in a celebration. You will not take a present to go and give to the person, right? When you tell them join the queue to get the food too, they won't join the queue. They want the best part of the food. And sometimes if you don't take care, they'll carry some of your food and your decor away.
Are you speaking from experience?
Bernard, I'm talking from experience.
Somebody came to your program and took your decorations away.
They won't bring you presents. They won't bring you drinks. They won't bring you anything. And if you don't take care, they will eat the best part of your food. Take some away.
In fact, 2020. In fact, Samen is saying that culture must end.
Yes.
If you go to his Twitter, he says 2020. Ghanaians should learn how to attend birthday parties and weddings with presents. So if you go there, you should hold chobok something. No, you know, some people when they do weddings say they are only accepting cash and vouchers.
People don't pay the cash and the vouchers.
So they don't want. You see, they don't want you to. They want to buy stuff for their house themselves. So instead of buying cutlery and furniture and giving to them, give them the voucher. They'll choose the one they want.
People don't even give them vouchers or send the cash for Amomo.
So it's not good.
So wedding giving is coming down. People don't give our weddings anymore.
Birthday cry, cards they are not writing. Something small.
It's a good question because to be fair, I was at Abene's wedding this weekend. I didn't take anything. But did you take anything?
But you ate.
Small.
I mean so. On that note, let's say congratulations to Abena. And the husband. The husband looks very much like you.
Yes.
That's
that brand of men. We are also getting important.
Daily Guide says this morning, police probe Kumasi killer's injury. Also, NDC boys burn tires over voters register. Whole lot of demonstrations planned. Also, Ghana Techie signed deal and UCC contractor clears air.
Now, the Ghanaian Times, Ghana Health Service uncovers rot internal auditor implicated in embezzlement of millions of cedis. Men's gold customers expected in court. Lab results on strange disease at Dedenu to be ready Wednesday. This is according to the veterinary service. Killed a lot of cattle. And government to reclaim encroached state lands.
Let me take you to the Daily Statesman. Keep Mahama away from the presidency. Sekou Nkrumah is telling NDC people. And also, Xmas 2019 shopping was the best in years, according to a DI report. And Australia's bushfires and the boiling frog effect.
Now, the finder, don't compromise national ID data. President Akufo-Addo cautions stakeholders. Dr. Awao, Jogate are best performing ministers for 2019. This is according to a survey. We will stay focused despite your cartel label, Cocoa Board boss, and NDC other parties demonstrate against new voters register.
The custodian says NDC torments a resolute electoral commission over new voters register. Something here that says protect national ID data. Akufo-Addo is talking to the NIA and also challenge EC's powers in court, Odrosai, to anti-new register groups.
Sky read a story earlier about a contractor in UCC. It's the same on the front page of the Chronicle. Contractor denies using fake certificate to secure UCC contract. 2019 Xmas sales were better, says Dankwa Institute research. PBC in 700 million Ghana cedi debt. Workers also protest against haulage contract. Lawyer Pencil sues contractor for breach of contract. And the Chronicle sells at 3 cedis from today.
Okay, let me take you to the Herald. EC boss caught up in double standard. Now, was against new voters register in election year 2012. Also, SNET increases pensions by 11% and Attorney General abandons star witness in Opuni case.
Now, the Ghanaian Observer, local government expert tears NDC's noise against new voters register. Akufo-Addo gets commendation over massive achievements. Zongo Ministry vows to kick out open defecation and retain NPP for the betterment of Ghana.
The Independent says this morning, Ghana should be ashamed of position on corruption rankings. That's according to Emil Short. Also, aptitude test better than interviews in processes for promoting teachers. Nagrat is speaking here. And Chinese demand is fueling donkey theft and stressing out farmers in Ghana.
Oh, in Ghana?
Yeah, that's right. Up north. There's a story.
What's the story?
Yeah, you remember you came up with this donkey matter.
Yes.
Donkeys are
in high demand in China. And so we should pay attention to it.
So Chinese demand is fueling donkey theft.
Yeah, that's right. They're stealing the donkey
and stressing out farmers.
Yeah, you know they use the donkeys for a lot of
yes, as a beast of burden. But some people need it for other things.
Yes, they eat the meat, they
skin,
use the skin,
that's right,
oils for medicine, and a whole lot of other things.
Wow.
So now, the new crusading guide. 2019 Christmas was better. This is Dankwa Institute.
Hey.
School feeding caterers.
It's everywhere, pal.
School feeding caterers exposed. Demo leader was paid. National security operator sell lands at Chado. Creates tension for land buyers. Military officers wreak havoc at Shire Hills. Destroy sack landowners from their properties. And the big story. Askai aircraft now death trap. Inside reeks of exhaust fumes. AC's faulty. As passengers wonder whether it's a plane or an Okada in the skies.
Which paper is this?
This is the new crusading guy.
Hey, but how do you write that about somebody's airline just like that?
That's what they are writing here.
The BNFT says this morning, IMF pushes for increment of taxes. IMF, pardon.
But they say you spend more money Christmas, as according to Dankwa.
No, that's not true about me.
Okay.
Women farmers feel shortchanged, call for standardization in sale and purchase of farm produce. And something here that says central banks face a year of mounting challenges.
The Gold Street Business Auditor General's office set to verify assets of public office holders. Government resists front-loading domestic financing needs as 2020 election year begins. And GSE begins year with 2 mega corporate restructuring deals.
Let's go online. CitiNewsroom.com. Auditor Peki SHS Beza in custody over alleged foodstuff bribe. Meanwhile, Asante Kotoko fans shot at Baba Yara Stadium after loss to Brekum, Chelsea. On education, migration of TUTAC others onto public university pay structure complete. This is Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Other stories. Voter NDC begins 2020 political activities with fasting and prayers. And CPP say they are not in favor of compilation of new voters register. But Odro Sign says EC has the discretionary power to do this. Now, if you go to citybusinessnews.com, transport and housing costs will continue to make Accra the most expensive city. This is an economist speaking. Also, T-bills and bonds dominate income sources of banks, according to a BOG report, and protect Ghanaians from possible US-Iran tension escalations. This is COPEC to government. If you go to Marjan Online, arguments against new voters register completely bogus. This is according to a group. Stadium shooting, injured fan stable and responding to treatment, according to Asante Kotoko. And Foreign Minister woos Turkey to support Ghana's industrialization drive. If you go to my graphic Ghana's online graphic website, why the football fan was shot in the eye. This is Asante Kotoko. Meanwhile, how Get Fan will prevent shoddy works in 2020 is also another story there. Peace FM is also talking about the register. There's nothing like overstretched register. It's only in Jean Mensah's head. Asiedin Ketia jabs EC. Meanwhile, EC replies opposition political parties. This issue is going to continue for quite a while. And so those are the stories making rounds online.
Bernard, there's a story I want to bring you in the BNFJ this morning. I'm taking you to Kumasi because the KMA is setting January ending deadline to demolish the central market, and that market holds a lot of promise.
This is for the migration to the new market.
Good. And Kizito Kujo is reporting from Kumasi that traders and businesses operating in the Kumasi Central Market have been urged to complete their relocation processes to the newly constructed KJTR market to make way for the demolition of the old one. Now, the demolition exercise, which would set the stage for the second phase of the KJTR Central Market redevelopment project, is set for January ending after several extensions of the deadline for the exercise. Now, the KMA initially set November last year as the deadline for the evacuation of all traders, but was prevailed upon to extend the deadline for traders not to miss business during the Christmas season, according to officials of the Assembly. Now, the KMA has thus given traders up to the end of January this year to move out of the market to pave way for the construction of the new market to start. Now, what is important is that if we don't relocate them, I mean, we took money from somewhere to build that the market.
$298 million.
Exactly. So if we continue to hold up the project, of course, I mean, it would affect so many things. So it is important that all the stakeholders in Kumasi and elsewhere work together to ensure successful relocation of the traders to the new market, so that the new one can start.
Now, let me take you to the center spread of the Ghanaian Times. Ghana Health Service uncovers rot. Internal auditor implicated in embezzlement of millions of Ghana cedis. Now, the story says the Director, Internal Audit Division of the Ghana Health Service, Mr. Kwabena Himen Ntiamwa, has landed himself in hot water over alleged misappropriation of funds of the Ghana Health Service running into several millions of cedis. Staff of Ghana Health Service may also have been implicated in the deal. According to Ghanaian Times investigations over the last 4 months, Mr. Himen Ntiamwa is alleged to have misappropriated monies meant for audit assignments through a number of schemes since January 2016 to August 2019. Available documentary exhibits in the possession of the Times quoted a wide range of amounts from the various regions since 2018 as monies allegedly swindled by the internal audit boss.
In which, the national or
national?
Local?
Ghana Health Service, national.
All right, there's another story on the embezzlement. Auditor Peki SHS Beza in custody of alleged foodstuff bribe. This is citynewsroom.com. Police in the Volta region say they have in their custody an internal auditor from the regional office of the Ghana Education Service, a driver and a Beza of the Peki Senior High School. The three are being held over allegations that they, together with the school headmaster, dispatched a pickup loaded with foodstuffs meant for students of Peki SHS to the home of the auditor, who was auditing the accounts of the school to allegedly bribe him. According to the PRO of the Volta Regional Police Command, Corporal Prince Dogbache, the driver of the vehicle was the first suspect to be arrested after a task force led by the Deputy Regional Minister, Reverend Johnson Avulete, intercepted him around Sokode en route to the auditor's house at Ho. He said the dog is awake. Yeah. He said the two other suspects, the Beza and the auditor, both turned themselves in after the news broke. Currently, we have the driver, who is the initial suspect. Then we have the Beza and the internal auditor also in our custody now. When the news broke, the internal auditor and the Beza turned themselves in following the report. So investigations are ongoing, Corporal Dogbache said. Now, there's a photo of Pesco, which is my mother's former school, with 2 yellow gallons and some things covered with a black Robber something.
Thank you.
The Deputy Regional Minister told Citi News that an informant alerted him of the alleged nefarious act being perpetrated by the headmaster and the bearer of the school, and he moved to seize the foodstuffs. And he cautioned heads against such activities, noting that he will ensure they are appropriately punished according to law. Now, this is a very good interception by the whistleblower. We don't know their name, but we are happy with this.
But it's very interesting that the man who led the campaign is Avulete. Yeah. Yeah, Charlie Avulete.
It's a big man.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to give you a quick wrap of stories on the voters register.
Yeah, there's something on corruption quickly. I want to just read one paragraph for you. If you go to the New Independent or the Independent newspaper, there's a story there. Ghana should be ashamed of position on corruption rankings, according to Emil Short. Now, the 2018 World Corruption Index ranked Ghana the 78th least corrupt country out of 180. And while some would think this is a case or a cause for celebration, a former commissioner of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice Raj believes there is nothing to celebrate. Now, according to Justice Emil Short, Ghana's position is rather a cause for concern. He is not happy.
Now, let's read a few stories on the electoral register. If you go to peaceonline.com, there's nothing like overstretched register. It's only Engine Mensa's head, Asirun Ketia Jab's EC boss. The story says that General Mosquito of the NDC, in an interview on UTV, essentially is saying that the reasons being given by the EC for creating a new register are not valid. Then if you go to that same website, they have a reaction. New voters register will be vindicated at the end of the day. Director of Electoral Services of the EC. So the EC has said an amount of between 300 and 400 million cedis will be needed to commence the process of a new voters register. Director of Electoral Services, Dr. Siribo Kweku, said plans to have new voters register for this year's election will go ahead as scheduled. He was also speaking in an interview on a program on NIT FM called Ghana Muntie. Then you have the CPP on citinewsroom.com say they are not in favor of the new voters register. So the 16 regional chairpersons of the CPP have said they are not in favor of the Electoral Commission's proposal to compile a new voters register, citing limited time and resources. Then if you go to the Observer...
Yes, Dr. Odro-San is speaking. He says that although noise is being made by the NDC against the new register, no strong legal arguments have been made to that effect.
Did he use noise?
Well, that's what the paper is.
What our story has him say is that the EC has the discretionary powers to compile a new voters register.
And that if anybody had any issues with those powers, the person should go to court instead of embarking on demonstrations and applying indirect pressure on the EC.
And then you are just reading headlines, my brother. So let's go on. Daily Guide also says
let me tell
that
you about
NDC burns ties. Now, don't forget the Ghanaian Times also covered, NDC did a demonstration in Tamale, the coalition of people against voters register. So some supporters of the NDC bent ties registered their displeasure over the move by the EC to compile a new voters register for the upcoming general election. They marched to the central business district of Tamale, chanting war songs against the compilation of a new register.
And if you go to the Herald newspaper, they have a story that says that the Electoral Commission boss, Jean Mensa, has been caught in a case of double standard, as it has emerged that the Institute of Economic Affairs, under her leadership, advised the then head of the electoral body, Dr. Kujua Farijan, against compiling new voters register during election years. Now, interestingly, she has or appears to have eaten back her words since assuming the position as EC chief, and has since gotten approval for a total of 1.3 billion Ghana cedis for the Commission's activities this year, including the compilation of a new voters.
So there's actually a shot of a statement she made as EC chairperson circulated on social media. Finally, in the Ghanaian Times, Yakubu Abdul Majid reports that thousands of people from all walks of life last Saturday thronged the principal streets of Tamale to demonstrate against the proposed compilation of the new voters register by the EC. The demonstration, dubbed Tigusagi, meaning we will not agree, was organized by the Inter-Party Resistance Against New Voters Register. The well-patronized event is the first in a series of demonstrations to be organized throughout the country. And then a story gives some background. Now, the Times' editorial is quite interesting. And they're basically saying, let's not raise the political temperature. And they're not happy with the way the leading protagonists on both sides are approaching this voters register issue. So that the Times is basically saying that cool heads must prevail.
Let's go to the Observer. Deadline for Ghana card registration must be respected, Akufo-Addo. Remember last week the Vice President spoke about this, and this week we have a report from the Presidency also on this. Now, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has charged stakeholders in the mass registration exercise of Ghanaians under the National Identification Authority to abide by the deadline given. The mass registration exercise began in April 2019 And as of Wednesday, January 8, 2019, 6.5 million Ghanaians have been registered. And the president says that all the stakeholders must stick to the deadline for the Ghana card registration. And he also says that they should not compromise the national ID data, because based on this, a lot will be done.
There's a very important question we have to ask about how the NIA's work will influence what the EC wants to do, and how also the planned census comes into play. Because we have a census plan for March. A census gives us the population of the country, which would then help us to know exactly the percentage we expect to be on the register. So some will say, should we do the census first, and when we finish, do a new register? And can we do that before the voting? The other question is, what will the national identification, based on this coverage, also help us achieve? So maybe somebody must sit together with all these people and have a bigger conversation.
And what's the long-term vision for voters registration or voters identification? If you are going to have a national ID system, which can tell you your age and everything, and,
which has a chip which has about 10 or 20 data points. Do you still need a normal voters register?
Do we have to spend $400 million compiling a voters register?
These are all very important questions. Now, guys, two stories. Kumasi Asante Kotoko, a fan has been shot in the eye. And the story says one Kumasi Asante Kotoko fan was reportedly shot on Sunday as violence marred the Kumasi club's Premier League encounter by Berkum Chelsea. Although initial reports on social media suggest that the fan had died, he is currently receiving treatment at the emergency unit of the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital. Videos shared widely on social media showed a man covered in blood initially writhing in pain on the floor outside the Baba Yara Stadium before being carried away, presumably to the hospital by some onlookers, leaving a bloody spot on the ground. The match itself ended 1-0 to Chelsea, with Kofi Wusu getting the only goal of the game. Fans of the Porcupine Warriors were up in arms over a decision by the referee, which resulted in defender Mpem Da Costa being sent off. The crowd felt the referee had erroneously given Da Costa the card, as they believed the initial incident had involved another of their players, Kwame Adom. Now, based on that, there was some altercation. Fans started throwing items, bottles onto the pitch. We haven't learned from May 9. The match was held up for a few minutes as officials tried to regain control, resulting in 8 minutes of added time after 90 minutes had been played. Now, fans, however, continued throwing objects onto the pitch, with a few managing to gain access to the inner perimeter of the stadium before being chased back by security. Some videos showed some of the Kotoko players pleading with the fans to stop what they were doing. The referee and his assistant were eventually escorted. So the story doesn't tell when the shooting occurred. But if you go to the Ghanaian Times back page, and it says a fan of Kwame Asante Kotoko is feared dead, but I think the story has to be updated. And it basically then talks about the video and what led to the altercation. So we don't really have the proper narration of when the shooting occurred.
I'm sure the sports team would be updating.
Well, they say reports claim the supporter was shot in the eye after police fired rubber bullets to ward off supporters who were trying to approach referee Charles Bulu following the defeat of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And they sourced their story from Ghana Soccer Net.
But let me take you to the BNFT, back to that paper. Now, there is a story there about IMF pushing for increment of taxes.
That story is worrying you, pal.
Because the information is scary. For example, there's a 17.5% VAT on financial services. The CST we've been talking about, they want it increased to 12%, according to the story. Corporate income tax from 25% to 35%.
Exactly.
Is that what IMF is proposing?
Yeah,
that is what the story is saying.
So the summary is what they are saying we should increase what?
Yeah.
VAT on financial services.
That thing that we said was a nuisance tax under tech.
Yes.
We should bring it back.
Yes. So IMF insists on reintroduction of nuisance taxes scrapped in 2017.
They can't be serious.
Okay, so let me just
but I mean that's the highlight, right? Because I wanted to just join that to the claim DI is making.
That's not Christmas
so, yeah, if you go to the Statesman, this is your former employer many years ago. Xmas 2019 shopping the best in recent years. DI report reveals. Richard Kofi Boy reports that it has emerged that shopping for the just ended Christmas was far better and bigger than sales figures recorded in recent years. This came to light through a survey conducted by the Dankwa Institute in 4 major markets in Accra, Makola, Kaneshie, Tema, Station, and Agbobloshi. A whopping 72.1% of the market women and male traders surveyed at the 4 markets in December last year were emphatic that shopping was better than in the preceding year. Only 27.9% of the respondents believed that business was not going well as expected. The 27.9% said business was not going well, added, however, that sales picked up in the final week of the month, culminating in a considerable increase in sales. I thought we were going to use like data, official statistics of consumer activity.
Values.
So this is more okay. Just to put this context, this is more the perceptions of market people.
Yeah,
that also has its place.
Yeah, they did a
So-
survey.
And there's an interesting
Because they
twist
also
to
do
this.
business confidence surveys.
There's an interesting twist to this. A lot of the respondents said they advertise their wares online, on Facebook, on Instagram, and other online portals to attract.
Well, let me give you a story that
customers.
will burst your bubble. Transportation and housing costs will continue to make Accra the most expensive city. This story is on citybusinessnews.com. The cost of transporting foodstuffs, coupled with the high cost of housing in the capital of Ghana, Accra, among other factors, have been blamed for making the city the most expensive in Ghana. An analysis of the Ghana Statistical Service data on inflation for 2019 shows that Greater Accra is the most expensive region for consumers over the past 1 year. That shouldn't be surprising. The country's statistical agency, which collects data on the changes in prices of foods and non-food items last week, Wednesday releases December 2019 data, which showed that inflation in Greater Accra stood around 12%, while the overall national was 7.9%. So we are over 4% higher than the national average. Beyond the general movement of price in December last year, a simple calculation of the average changes in price of goods and services over the past 12 months indicated that the Greater Accra region's 10.3% in all 2019 was the highest of all the traditional 10 regions measured. And then Professor Kwabena Enin shared the key drivers of inflation, and he says food inflation is the dominant one. So food is 2/5 of the inflation figure. And then we have housing, and then other things. It's an interesting survey that we can actually discuss on the show later on.
Now, Bernard, the Cocoa Board boss is speaking. And he says, despite all that international news media are saying about Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, they will still keep on doing what they are doing. Now, the story in the Finder says that the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Joseph Boahinedu, is optimistic Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire remain focused on pursuing policies and plans to improve the cocoa industries. He said the pushback from the Western media and the cocoa cartel label, which they have placed on the two top cocoa producing countries in news stories about the new cocoa trading mechanism, would not derail the well-intended attempts to raise the living standards of cocoa farmers.
But let me take you back to yesterday's event by First Sky Group. First Sky to build kidney transplant center. The story is by Melvin Talue. It says the First Sky Group of companies has pledged to partner the Kolebu Teaching Hospital to build Ghana's first ever kidney transplant center in the Kolebu area. Now, the announcement comes on the back of a successful collaboration between the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and the First Sky Group, which led to 4 persons undergoing kidney transplantation at the hospital in 2019. Now, the Chief Executive Officer of the First Sky Construction Limited, the subsidiary of the First Sky Group, Engineer Ernest Ni Okai Hammond, made the announcement at the group's 17th Thanksgiving service held in Accra yesterday.
It's always good to have a Ghanaian company do so well and to do such great interventions. So well done to them. Finally, migration of TUTAG others onto public university pay structure is complete.
Yes.
And I don't know what this means for the strike,
We
but
are
the
told
story
that
says
they'll be paid on the 29th of January.
okay, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission say they have completed the migration of senior and junior staff of technical universities from the Polytechnic single spine structure to the appropriate grade structure of senior and junior staff of public universities. The commission said the migration has been approved for implementation. Accordingly, the following a letter dated January 8, signed by the Executive Director Dr. Kwapong and addressed to the Finance Minister. So basically, it means that one of the major issues that the Polytechnic administrators and workers were concerned about, the claim is that it's been dealt with.
Single pie. Single pie.
Thank you very much, Richard, and thank you very much, Kojo. Coming up next is the City Business News. Stay with us.